Let us know if you can hear us and see us. You guys, and let's see if anybody's here today. Sissy and brother-in-law are here. Y'all the only ones here today? Well, sir. How y'all doing? Y'all doing all right?
They ain't saying nothing.
What you mean they ain't saying nothing?
I ain't here.
You can't hear them. Hey, Brooke K. Hey, Brooke K. Let me take my banner down here. Everybody's a little slow about coming in today. So here comes James Dixon,
Dion,
and Dee Dee, and George, and Linda Langdon. Yeah. Good to have you guys with us. We running just a little behind because we were trying to. Thank you, Sissy. She said they could hear us and see us. We run a little behind trying to deal with baby girl. She's been coughing still, and just working on her.
Armstrong and Westinghouse.
Yes, Sandra. Hey, Sandra. And Norman. Sandra. Pastor Norman.
J. Hewitt Edward.
Yeah. Good.
J. Hewitt Edward.
Good to see you guys here with us today. I'm glad you're with us. Let's see. What am I going to do first here? You know what you're going to talk about tonight, Mr. Sawyer?
I do.
Okay. I'm going to read this to you. We've read it before. Pastor's read it before. It's Psalms 139, and it'll be our meditation for tonight. And if you want to repeat after me, you can. That'll be fine. I'll read it a little bit slower so you can repeat it after me if you want to. And I'm reading it because I printed it out. I'm not reading it from my Bible. I'm just printing it out. And so let's do that while others are coming in. There's Laverne. Hey, sweetheart. Hope you and Johnny are okay. Johnny's in the hospital, and thank you guys for praying with them. He's doing better, doing much better. Glad to have you with us tonight, Laverne. Okay, this is Psalms 139, and it reads like this. You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise.
My shirt. I thought somebody punched me inside. Go ahead.
I'm going to start over.
No, you're okay.
You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise.
Yes.
You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. You hem me in behind and before, and you lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths of hell, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light become night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place,
Mm.
when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body.
Mm.
All the days ordained for me were written in your book
Mystical talk.
before one of them came to be. How precious to me are your thoughts, O God. How vast is the sum of them. Were I to count them, they would outnumber the grains of sand. When I awake, I am still with you. If only you, God, would slay the wicked away from me, you who are bloodthirsty. They speak of you with evil intent. Your adversaries misuse your name. I have nothing. I count them my enemies. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. And so it is. And so it is. That whole chapter is mystical talk, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So is.
That whole chapter is.
We're going to talk about the intelligence of our eternal spirit.
Okay.
Jesus, after 6 days, took with him Peter, James, and John, some of the other brothers, and brought them to a high mountain and was transfigured before them. His face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elijah talking with him. Now, this is not necromancy. This is the testimony of translators who said this actually happened. What gets me about it, how did they find out about the transfiguration? Except Peter, James, and John that was there, put it on paper.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, let's go over here to a place where I marked off here.
I'm going to move you over just a tad, okay?
Okay. I think I got it here. Anyway,
Do you have it?
the miracles that Jesus did in Galilee manifested his glory,
Mm-hmm.
and his disciples believed on him. Now this is somebody who's fully awake now, and I think we do have. When I study about the different sages, some of them talk about these spiritual abilities, the intelligence of the spirit self. Most people, when they come into this, if they're not around the atmosphere or what this is talked about and demonstrated, even some of the awakened, enlightened saints that I know, some of them function out of some of this because that potential is the normal potential of your eternal self. And the reason why I say it like that is because in your sleep at night, you leave your body and you go and you do things and you come back. Everybody leave their bodies at sleep. They may not remember it, they may not know anything about it, but that's another way that that your physical mind or your brain gets a vacation, and your eternal self has to work some things out in the spirit realm for you the next day. And this is my personal encounter with this spiritual intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
This intelligence is absolutely built in. It is built into everybody, whether reading the course of the Bible or sitting under anybody that operate in these areas. My investigation into all of this spiritual intelligence, has been, I'd say 50 years of constant searching and experiencing the mysteries behind this energy. These gifts of the Spirit in 1 Corinthians 12, it talks about all of this stuff. And you can go to it and read it if you like. But you'll find out that these abilities is in everybody. And I used to hear some of them say, God didn't give me that gift. God gave it to you. No, it don't work like that. This ability is just like everyone that's born in flesh under normal conditions. You can walk, you can talk, you can see. Your normal function is called the intelligence of your physical being.
Mm-hmm.
But the spirit, which is the eternal self, and you can also go to, if you want to read the book, 16th chapter Luke, you don't have to read any of this. If you are really on the path to waking up, you're going to eventually see this. And that's why I don't understand a lot of them that we have been around don't function in this. They have another way of saying that, I don't know. I just heard some of them talk, and I could tell from some discernment online that some of them do have that ability, but they don't say anything about it. I think the course said something about that too.
And when you say ability, you didn't make it
I'm
clear.
talking about the abilities, the intelligence of operating in the miraculous and doing those things that are like seeing
supernatural things.
I would say I don't like to call them supernatural anymore, because there's a way you can say it, like intelligence, abilities, potentials.
So, and I'll use Laverne as an example, and I don't think she would mind, and the situation that she and her husband are dealing with. And in enlightenment, coming to a place of awakening of who you are and all of this, there is a need for the activation of those energies, those healing energies and those kinds of things. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And I've seen these operate in and through me, through us, and many others. And there were classes that some people hold, and they just and give you the definition of them. Jesus didn't go around in the writings and tell everybody that he could do this and he could see in the spirit realm. The disciples was with him on the Mount of Transfiguration, and Moses and Elijah appeared to him.
Your chair's rubbing mine.
And
that's what you're hearing.
And so that ability is in our hands to move our fingers and to take steps and to hear. So when I was over there and everybody go, I was able to walk and move with steps or without steps. I could move out of my spirit, in my spirit body. Paul was caught up to the second heavens, and he saw some things that could not be talked about. Now we're talking about things from the book. I don't get in the book, this Bible, like I used to, because I found out that all I was looking for, and I think that every one of you guys are looking for, is some of the things that have happened to a lot of near-deaf people near-deaf study. Some of you are really seeking to find out. My beginning of this was Jesus appearing to me without doing anything. I didn't do anything to make it happen. It was a spontaneous intelligence from God. I did not know what was inside of me until it woke up. Waking up, if it is deep enough, will take you into these dimensions and these intelligence. It operates in the church as gifts of the Spirit. Spiritual abilities are so prevalent in some areas of the country where there are people who do this. But I don't go for the ego part of it now. There's an ego part of this where people they hold meetings and do things like that to exploit these abilities. And just because they exploit them does not mean that they don't function.
They shouldn't function in it.
Yeah, they will function. And I found out that NLOVE, love, if you in spontaneous energy, you can do these things. And some people doing them, like I said, without having know anything about what they are. My niece found out that she could hear my brother talking to her on the other side. Now, in the church, we've always said they were familiar spirits. I say it like this: if the Spirit of God is in you and others at your brick and mortar, then you are also communicating with those on the other side. But you've never been told that it was real. And they always say, if you do that, God forbid. Well, if God forbid that for us, then he forbid it for himself, because in the book he talks about that, and he did it. He raised people from the dead, and he talked to in the 11th chapter of John, he talked to my mind goes blank. Let me slow down. It's what that memory thing do to you when it comes down to the pandemic. Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead. He had to communicate with him by calling his name, and his spirit self used the name for that particular body that was coming forth out of the grave. He was wrapped up in clothes. He could not walk, but he was transported to the entrance of where he was buried, and they unwound him from the clothes, and Lazarus was there.
Yeah.
And so my point is that if you go far enough in this spiritual intelligence or just identity, you don't have to make it happen. Some of the guys I know found out how to activate this in themselves, and that can get you in trouble, because once you start doing this and your ego is not tied down, you're going to do like some of these evangelicals that have made a business out of them. They are made to, they use them to make money off of it. And it don't stop just because you know how to tap into it.
So what I hear you saying, and you correct me if I'm wrong in what I think I'm hearing, that there are in our enlightenment, if you want to call it enlightenment, your growth in the spirit, if you want to call it that, if you want to call it awakening, there are levels and dimensions. And those I want to call them deeper levels and dimensions. Some spiritual teachers call them densities. Or spiritual bodies. More than, and so we're actually moving in and out of different dimensions, are we not? As spiritual beings. And so
as we walking around the house, we're walking through a dimension.
We're walking through, but even in our spiritual evolution, we're moving from one dimension to the other. And in that, there are different things we encounter in different dimensions. And also there are limitations that are removed as you go deeper in those dimensions. And so my question then is, this is for everybody, and I don't have all of the answers. We don't have all of the answers.
Mhm.
But is there a way to move yourself through into the places, the dimension where miracles actually exist?
Okay. I'm going to sum this up with a very simple explanation.
Okay.
To know these things and how they work, I found out they can come two or three ways. They can come by you being around somebody that work in that area,
Okay.
and your intelligence of your eternal self will pick up on it.
Exposure.
Exposure.
Yes. Okay.
The next way is that you learn how to relax yourself inwardly, and then all of a sudden, these things on a spontaneous basis take place.
Do you believe that meditation
It could.
takes you deeper into it as
That
well?
could. Whatever it takes to get you and get your awareness or your consciousness. I'm just using words now. You can put yourself in a place where you can actually operate these things deliberately, but you must come to a place where you become single minded, whereby you don't exist anymore, but your eternal essence is now made one with your physical senses. And in that area, you could very well be talking, and somebody around you could hear the voice of the spirit talking out of your mouth, and you don't hear it. So the key to this thing is, if you're going to work in these mystical areas, which some of you may not be ready for that,
But I think
you're going to have that experience.
I think we're all ready for that, but not necessarily ready to minister it to other people.
Right.
But we're all ready to have those things happening in our lives, because there are cases when we need those kinds of miracles to happen.
Spiritual intelligence is the truth that you must be ready for. You're not going to wake up. I want to wake up so I won't have these bad thoughts no more. I want to wake up so that I can and I can be happy. One of the things I'm aware of in spiritual intelligence is that they are very unselfish. The gifts, the functions,
okay,
is very unselfish. They're
impersonal.
That's right. That's right.
Because you can't determine who should have a miracle versus someone else. It's more impersonal. So a lot of times we because of our attachments to certain people, or we'll look at certain people and we'll feel like we want a miracle to take place. But that's where you and I have kind of hit a wall in looking at people's charts, their sacred script, and not really sure if you should even interfere with whatever it is they're going through.
When I heard about a famous basketball star who went into the straight way in his in basketball playing, he hit a place in there where he did not exist anymore, but there was something about him that was shooting the ball, and he knew from where he was standing that ball was actually being controlled by his infinite self. I call it infinite, but he wouldn't. And it is a place. Some people call it adrenaline high. Some people call it the place where there is no resistance, or enter into a term we used a long time ago, the middle path.
Yeah.
And he would.
And I recently discovered what the middle path actually is, because I've done some study into it, but I actually discovered it in myself, when it's the place it's the interim between that me that is disturbed and that me that I'm trying to be.
Yeah.
And so I am neither. I am not the one disturbed, nor am I the one trying to become. And so in the middle of that is where I lie, is where I reside. So that's the middle path.
This that we're talking about tonight has nothing to do with you going to heaven or not, or salvation from the church point of view.
Now, Linda's asked a question, which is a very good question. She said, would dimensions be the same as different frequencies?
Now you're hitting it, girl.
Yeah, I believe that's
it.
Yes. And
that's it.
I can say it like this, Linda. The different frequencies there are different frequencies based on the dimension. In fact, there are events that are relative to particular dimensions. And I'll use something real simple as an example. A mosquito never sees winter.
Okay.
Okay, because that mosquito will actually decease before winter comes in. So that dimension of the mosquito is different than that winter season where other things live. And so there's different things happening in different dimensions. And so there's different senses in different dimensions as well. Right?
Yeah, different functions. Now, if you go on television and watch America Got Talent, and you watch the ones that come on there that cannot sing, and yet they think that they can, and they try, and everybody boo them, that's an indication that they are deluded, and that this ability that's in them did not come through for that particular purpose.
Right.
Okay. When I go back in the garage to make those toys, I don't have to use a measurement to make them, but yet I make them. I can go back now and make the same ones the same size, and this is something that was functioning through me when I was 4, 5, and 6 years of age. Being around somebody that was doing these kind of things with wood, making things out of wood, I picked up on it. So there's nothing new about what I'm talking about. It may be that your mind is saying, I don't need that. I don't want that. All right, you use it on your job. I look at people in the grocery stores, and we think that's mental, but we need to be able to discern the difference when it is your heart, your pure self, or your mind, the left brain of your intelligent part. Another thing I find out about these workings of intelligence is that your heart function in this world of dimensional travels and dimensional manifestations, intelligence. Your heart is designed to outweigh and outwork your mind.
Outperform.
Outperform. That's right.
There's a scripture, and in India, in Hinduism, this that we're talking about, these energies and these frequencies that we're talking about, they call it Shakti, they call it Shiva, and it's a dynamic energy that's responsible for creation. I think in Shakti it's a female energy.
Yeah.
But in Shiva it's the blending of the male and the female energies.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a lot of times I'll be talking to people that come to see us, and while they sitting there, I will see some part of their family. They could be in the on the other side or not, and I don't never know what I'm going to see, but the potential is there. And I'm not interested in exploiting these things. I am doing this on a spontaneous basis.
No, it's just become what you are.
It's just what we are.
I mean,
we all are like this.
But it's different for each of us. Like you said, your aunt could cook. She cooked intuitively.
Oh, what you talking
There was
about?
no recipe written down.
And some of y'all grandmothers do the same thing.
And I remember Mama Hazel when she was around.
That's right.
There were no recipes written down.
Yeah.
She did it by intuition. I say, well, how much of this do you add? She say, oh, just do it till you feel like it.
Yeah.
And so these are dormant gifts in some people, and then it comes forth in different ways in different people.
But the reason why they can function in these is because they are not interested in trying to make it happen, or they're not trying to get you to see it. I sit in the kitchen with my aunt many times and did little things with her, and I picked up on a few things. But then, what's so amazing about this is when you see something happen. I'll give you an example. We had to run one time, I don't know, 20, 30 miles from where I live all the way up to the Coliseum and another city.
That was in your young days.
In my young days, yeah. I run all the way, 3 or 4 of us run all the way up there. And I'm talking about, I didn't have tennis shoes. I had dress shoes. Yeah.
Okay.
And I run all the way up there. And I noticed when I got to a certain point, I had a second wind.
Okay. I've hit that second wind
Yeah,
before.
and that second wind is you'll be burning and burning and breathing. Then all of a sudden it'll come to a relaxed state.
Yeah, I
It's
remember
like
when
a
we
car,
used to
like a car in overdrive.
yeah, we used to jog every day,
Yeah.
and we would do it a minimum of 5 miles. And I remember getting to that fifth mile was like, oh, like you said, you feel your breath burning. You sometimes you get this catching your side, all kinds of things. And then all of a sudden you hit this sweet spot, and it's like you could just run forever.
What is that program? Come on, tell me about the young man at the doctor. I certainly could see how to work on people.
Oh, the good doctor.
The good doctor. Yeah. When I look at that, that's close to. It is exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The what the doctor movie?
The Good Doctor.
The Good Doctor. Good Doctor.
Well, now there's a scripture I wanted to read. It's in St. John 14, and those of you who've read your Bibles, you're familiar with this, where Jesus said, "Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you." Now, in my earlier days, and around a lot of the older saints, that meant to them, when I go to heaven, I'm gonna have me a palace.
Okay.
But when he says, "In my Father's house are many mansions," that's one house that has mansions in it, or dimensions in it.
Yeah.
So,
and another thing, the house is made out of your infinite eternal self. Look what Miss Linda said there, baby.
Yeah. So you reading the comments before I get to them. She said, "Is it the pure self that drives the car when you are so lost in thought you don't remember driving?" I've done that. Yes.
And that would be a place. Once you go deep enough, into your true identity, you're going to have these things to operate.
And there's a part of us, even when we're lost in thought, that's still consciously aware. That's the part that's the true us.
This is called waking up beyond salvation, beyond churchology, beyond religiosity.
This is just what we are.
It's just what we are.
So there is a part of us that is always aware, conscious and aware. No matter what the mind is thinking, no matter what the body is doing, even no matter what the feelings are expressing, that remains, and that remains is who we truly are.
You are not fully awake just because you believe in the course. Because there's a lot of people that read
the Bible,
and there are a lot of people that hear this. I run across people all the time that actually work in these areas. When I come across the lady that do the therapy with me, I saw her son, and I didn't I just stopped and I said, "Your son likes to have his feet massaged." And I said, every night an angel come to him at the foot of his bed and massage his feet. She turned and said, he loves his feet to be massaged.
I've watched over the years, and I'm sure you've done the same thing with me, but I've watched over the years the operations that came through you. In the earlier days of your conversion, there was more of the acts
intelligence, spiritual intelligence.
I was going to say something different. There was more of the acts of manifestation coming through you for healings. And over the years, what has happened, because you went in the closet and of course you did your spiritual discipline there, you developed an intuitive mastership. And so that now has taken prevalence over the other. So a lot of times the miracle that comes, the working that comes through you, is that intuitive message that you receive or that you encounter.
And what we're talking about, and it's strange you would say that because I got my finger on it. This is waking up beyond the old ways. It is the master state. This is called the master transformation state. You are where all the power, you are exactly where the energy, you are standing right now in the potential of these abilities in an effortless way. They will eventually go far enough, and you will be able to see what it means to operate in these potentials deliberately. But you're doing it, Miss Linda said it, you are doing this on a spontaneous daily basis already. We call it second nature.
Yeah. It actually is your nature.
All right,
Yes.
here's another one. Notice as you go into this, I hear a lot about people saying become the observer or the watcher of the things around you from a perspective of your spirit identity. The mind, you observe it, you don't identify with it. Do you know that actual teaching of observing the mind or observing the ego, that is one of the operations of your eternal self, to be the observer. That's the real you as awareness and consciousness watching these things take place.
Well, you taught us years ago when we were on McConnell Road. We were first started pastoring, and we were really newbies at the time. But you use this particular scripture a lot to kind of drive home to us that we have the ability to do certain things. And it's in 1 John 2:20 where it says, "But you have an unction from the Holy One,
yes,
and you know all things." That's what you drove home to us. You know all things. Now, and then it makes you ask the question, okay, if I know all things, then why is it that I'm not right now receiving that knowing or having that knowing manifested? But it is, and that goes back to what we said before, the spiritual disciplines that we do is to take us into the dimensions where we know all things. And there is a dimension, I don't know what I want to call it. There is a dimension that you have been in and I've been in, and I remember distinctly getting in that dimension, being in that dimension.
I'll tell you another good word for it is the divine flow.
Right, but I'm on to something. So
go ahead.
In that dimension, there was nothing but knowing.
That's right.
And I remember it was early in our spiritual early in our pastoring.
Yeah.
You were standing on the floor. This is when we were in the hotel room, just getting started. And you were ministering to someone, speaking to them, and you were obviously in this place, and I slipped into it.
Yeah, you
and
did.
You stopped right in the middle of your sentence and looked at me and said, "What you doing here?" So it was an actual dimension of nothing but knowledge. And I remember standing in it, and all I can use to describe it was, it looked like a never-ending room with no walls of just absolute light.
I can promise you, every one of you, as light beings, you are already there messing with this kind of stuff, and it's already there because anyone that go far enough into this will begin to see these things take place, and you don't.
But it has to be important to you, doesn't it?
Well, it is imparted from within, and it is already imparted. It's just like
I said important.
Oh, important.
Not imparted, but it has to be. It has to be something you really, really want.
Yeah.
In your life, yeah.
All of this operates. Now, here's the punch to all this stuff. It's called operating in being and the I am state. In the I am and the being state, the flowing state, move in that area, and in that state of your essence, you can do these things and function in them. A lady told me one time, she said, "Pastor Sawyer," she said, my little baby been crying, and I don't know what to do to stop it. And she said, "I thought about what you said about prayer and there's praying in the spirit and things like that." And she said she tried it.
Yeah.
And when she did, she saw that baby.
The information that she needed, the
She
knowing
needed
that she
information.
needed
That's right.
came. Now, this is the scripture that you often used in the past, and a lot of you who've been with us, you've heard it before. But this is in Romans 8, where it says, likewise, 8:26, likewise, the Spirit also helps our infirmities, our inability to get past this impasse. For we know not what we should pray for as we ought. Our minds don't know what to pray for.
That's right.
Our mind is completely removed from what needs to be said or prayed about. But the Spirit itself makes intercession for us with groanings, which cannot be uttered. And I remember this was years ago. You went up into Elkin, I think, in the mountains to minister.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
and Pastor Jeff.
Yeah.
And I decided I'd stay home that night.
That's right.
Because he was with you. And while I was at home, I always told him I would pray for the service while he was gone. And so that's what I did. And I remember using this particular thing. I groaned in the Spirit. I actually groaned. I laid on the floor because we had a good carpet floor. Yeah. I laid on the floor and I groaned. And I've done that before when my nephew was diagnosed with this blood disorder. I groaned in the Spirit. I allowed the Holy Spirit to groan through me.
Your true self.
You've often preached this too and taught us to use the burden.
Yes.
Use the burden. Use the energy of the burden.
I forgot all about that.
To groan instead of trying to say words. And I did that until I got into a place.
Yeah.
I won't forget it. I got into a place where I actually saw, looking down a long corridor, and I saw this light coming from way down in that corridor. And as it came closer to me, it had it was a figure of a person. And the closer it came to me, the more I realized what I was seeing was myself.
Okay.
But what I saw coming down that corridor was God as myself, and I screamed.
Yeah.
And so now I put myself in that place by groaning, but also while I experienced that, I saw everything that you guys experienced on the way up there and what you guys did.
Wow, that's right.
And I was able to tell you exactly what it was.
Yeah, Miss Marshall was with us.
Those things happened because I made it a point to put myself in that dimension.
Operating in the many dimensions is called mastering the dimensional travel state. It is a mastering state, and it is the part of you that is universal, omnipotent, omnipresent, is, hey, you were inside of Adam when he named all the birds and the beasts and gave them names, and they may not have been called what they are now, but he pointed them out.
And there was an incident where Jesus, when he was getting ready to raise Lazarus, he groaned in the Spirit before he raised him from the dead.
Now, some of you say you may believe in this, you may not, but I'm like Miss Linda. When I look at somebody, you know what I admire more than anything, when I can go in a service station and look at these people working behind the counter, they can remember everything. I see my wife do this. In her left brain, she recalled different things from her left brain to her right brain. She recalls a lot of things. I see this potential. The further you go into the light of your awakening awareness, you're going to start seeing some of these things. If you have not already, you're going to see them because they do not omit themselves out of your life.
They're just lying dormant.
You don't have a taste for.
Yeah, they're just lying dormant until you're ready to have them activated.
Miss Linda, I look at the nurses and I can see and feel when one of them come into my room when I'm in a hospital or something like that. I can tell this is good. They are operating out of the intuition and they operating out of the true self. Then I can look at the others that come in there that just. I had it to happen all the time. Every time I go to the hospital for something, it's the same way. And it's got to be a habit of seeing what's going on in the lives of people. And I've had them say, No, I don't think that's right. And spirits say yes. And I've walked in rooms and people were sitting there, and immediately I heard the word yes.
Mm-hmm.
You are
Mm-hmm.
in the right place.
Now the
I'm not looking for that. I don't go around like we've known some of them
Mm-hmm.
obsessed with that. I don't have time for that.
And the frustration is you would like to be able to do it for everyone.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't come like that because it's under the government of spirit. It's still under the
Yeah.
government of spirit.
Except the person be born of God, and we all are born of God.
Mm-hmm.
And in Nicodemus' case in the Bible, we all are of God,
Sure.
and of God
Sure.
are we, the intelligence that function in the God realm in a finite body.
So I just got a aha too. I should have gotten it from the beginning.
Okay.
When he said, "In my Father's house are many mansions."
Yeah.
He said, there's another scripture that tells us we are the temple of God.
Mm-hmm.
So we're the house that those dimensions are in.
Mm-hmm.
Those dimensions are in us.
I have found out how to talk in first person.
Or speak from consciousness as consciousness
right.
to consciousness.
Right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope you guys are getting something out of it, because I really searched for these operations until I found I went from pillar to post.
And still, well, not searching so much, but still digging into the wall, I say.
Yeah.
Digging into the wall until the reasons for them not operating when you want them and need them to operate, you trying to find those answers to that. Yeah. Yes. And what blockages are there? What limitations are there? Yeah.
So it's not about being special. There's no favorites with God.
We're all special, and we're all God's favorite.
We all the one. We all that same manifestation, and we need those things to operate. Driving a car, you use it all the time. Judging your distance.
Yeah.
You do it all the time by, like you said, Miss Linda. You're driving. You're not. I know one of my musicians that drive, and he knows how to hit the switch inside him, and he do it so much that when you see him, he look like he's still in it. But that's just a pattern. Some people.
Linda says, like yes, you become very sensitive to energy.
Yeah, that's right. Now here's another one. I used to study about the savant people. Dustin Hoffman and another guy,
Rain Man.
Rain Man. I looked at that, and those that can take a box of matches and hold them in their hand and can give it how many it is.
We went to Florence, South Carolina, to Pastor Epps' church that time, and there was this young man who was a savant, but he could play the piano like a maestro.
I mean, he could turn.
Never had a lesson.
I'm excited about your potential. I'm excited about you operating in first person as though you are that operation. The mystery of you is yet to be seen, and you will say, wow, it is more to this than what I thought.
One of the things that you and I have come to, we've heard a lot of people talk about enlightenment and awakening. For us, Jesus was the best example of what it meant to actually walk in that awakening 100%.
Yeah.
Because at some point, you get past just saying what you are and trying to be loving and kind, and you actually begin to walk in your God power.
Okay.
And Jesus did that, and he demonstrated that. So we know that is the final step.
Yes.
It has to be the final step.
Look at what Miss Linda said.
I just put it up there.
This is the good news that Jesus was talking about. The good news is I know who I am, and it's not egoic today.
What is John saying? John says my mansion has a coat of nicotine on his wall, but it has lots of color. Oh my goodness, John.
John, my man.
That's not your mansion, man.
Look at you, John. I tell you, boy. Well, I guess you're gonna have to grow a chimney on your head and let it smoke a little bit. But you know what, John? There
Oh,
are plenty of people that I know of that are awake
yeah.
and they operate in the supernatural and they got all kinds of things wrong with them. And
Mm-hmm.
here's the key. Look, Miss
Mm-hmm.
Linda said something about that. Awareness of mind and
Mm-hmm.
body.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. We
You
are not our thoughts. We are
that's
not
right.
our bodies. That's the good
That
news.
part of you that watches this is the part that works the miracles.
And well, actually, John, you're the one who notices the nicotine on the mansion, so on the walls. You're not the actual mansion. So, and this is the other thing that you can use this as your spiritual uh motivator.
Yeah.
How do I overcome this? Because
Yeah.
I obviously don't want to do it. If I'm mentioning this, you obviously don't want to continue doing it. How do I overcome this? And that can be your motivator to find the
Yeah.
dimension where you're free from that. And that's a good thing.
I'm in a place, you guys, where I have no desire, no desire. I can, I have no desire to go to church. And I want to say that to you, and I'm not against it. But my desires and
Mm-hmm,
my taste has changed.
mm-hmm,
And I go
mm-hmm.
all the way back
Yeah.
52, 53 years ago, and I can see now what I was really tasting
It's
for.
almost like we're right back to where we
Yeah.
started.
And what I'm tasting for is what you
Mm-hmm,
guys have been reading in the course and what we're talking about now.
mm-hmm.
What the taste in my mouth is to know the truth about
Yes,
who we are
yes,
in oneness
yes,
with God.
yes. And to know my
And
God.
to know him is to know myself. To know
Mm-hmm,
myself is to know all of you. To
mm-hmm.
know all of you is also to know God.
And there
And that automatically puts the intelligence of discernment in operation.
some people go into finding God by way of the intellect.
Yeah.
They try to find it in books and study and lots of sayings. But there are people who look and seek for God, try to feel after God. And when they feel after God, they don't look for something that's going to appeal to the mind. They use the heart
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
open up
Yeah.
to those
Yeah.
different kinds of uh, I won't call them energies because that doesn't fit what I'm trying to say. It opens you up to the spirit activities,
Hmm.
and it causes you to become more aware because of your discoveries
Hmm.
and those things. And so the heart searches as well as the
He that
mind.
searches the heart
Hmm.
knows what is the mind of the eternal self.
Hmm. John says he's working on it. I know you are. I know you are.
John,
There's no
who is
judgment
working on
here.
what? There is no you to work on anything. That's God working. And he's showing you, John, in
Yeah, it
spite of
is.
all of this. You know what? I went to a church one time, Brother John. I went and everybody, I went past the church really. And I went there. I saw everybody standing on the front porch of the church smoking.
No, that you had just finished preaching, and they were all lined up in the back getting ready to go out the door, and there were a whole family,
Oh, Lordy, yeah.
and they were standing there, and every last one of them were sucking their thumbs.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You know what? I'm gonna tell y'all something funny. I was riding on the highway on the way to church when the middle of the week service, and I was driving my Hummer during that time, and I pulled up beside a woman, and I slowed down to let her come past me, and I
Mhm.
looked, and she's sitting in there with a thumb around driving like this, and
Yeah.
uh, and I blow. I think I don't know whether I blow my horn or not, but I stayed on there and I looked at him and I drive, and she took that thing out of her mouth. I
Uh-huh.
said, I caught you,
Yeah,
didn't
you called
I?
her.
And then when it was soon, I backed off and went back up beside. She done stuck that thing in her mouth again. I've heard people pray. I say, Reverend Sawyer said, would you pray for me? I said, what? What for? They said, everybody in my family sucked their thumb.
Mm-mm,
Ah,
mm-mm,
ah,
mm-mm, mm-mm.
Lord have
That's
mercy.
that's a terrible
They
thing.
really do need to wake up, don't they?
They do.
Oh Lord.
They do. Look, guys, please hit the like button if you would. Hit that like button right now. And if you're on Facebook, go ahead and share. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe if you haven't done that already. Please go ahead and hit the like button right now while you're thinking about it. because it moves us up in the algorithm and it causes other people to be able to find us if they're searching for this kind of content. They find us a lot quicker, and it just gives us more access to other people to help them. And if you want to give, we bless your hearts for giving us to us, and thank you so much for supporting the ministry. And giving to Pastor Nod.
I hear an old song going off inside of me saying, I'm one of his own. I'm one of his own. I surrender my life to him, never to be alone. I used to go to church and testify. I wonder if I had a home on high. I'm going to tell everybody. Tell
them all about it.
Tell them all about it.
I'm one of his own.
I'm one of his own.
You almost got it. Almost got it. Almost got it.
Hey, I released out of my heart the same heart that you got, and I touch your eternal self with the presence of beingness. And I ask God to really reveal to you how these love functions, love intelligent operation work in your life.
So
Thank you.
Right now, and before we get offline, I want to ask you guys to pray for Laverne. Right now, I want you to just send love and light to Johnny and Laverne.
Yes.
And we send all of the energy of love to them. And
please do, everybody.
We're asking that the miracle be worked for Johnny and that he have immediate relief. And we send forth the angels of God to be there in that room, and where they're already there. But we invoke even more. We invoke the presence of Jesus Christ. We invoke the presence of every spiritual sage and every healer to be there in that room where they are and to touch his body.
Pastor Norman said you're waiting for our CD.
No, I know. I know.
Miss Kelly, I got your message from Miss Deb. Yes, it's good to hear from you. I bless you and Brother James in the name of Jesus Christ, from the top of your head to the tip of your pantyhose.
Now, I like what Linda says, and this is a good thing to end on. She says, losing the fear of death.
Yes.
Recognizing everyone as yourself.
Oh, Jesus.
Knowing you never were born and will never die.
That's the truth. Is freedom and a waking up.
Sounds
Thank you very much.
Sounds good.
I appreciate your business.
You can't beat that. What'd you say? Can't beat that with an egg beater.
You'll kill a rock, wreck a train, and dare a piece of iron, gets rheumatism.
You said it can't beat it with an egg beater, can't beat it with a stick.
Can't beat it with a stick. Can't beat it with an egg beater. It's all over. Everything is an ingredient built up. The whole ingredient of the cake is built into your spiritual anatomy.
Send something to Laverne. Let her know that you got it. Let her know that you're sending. Thank you, John. He says, great healing for Laverne and Johnny.
Yes.
Sissy says, sending love and light to Johnny and Laverne.
Oh, yes.
And she said, thank you for your prayers. And
we're
constantly praying for you, Sissy. We're praying for you, Laverne. We're praying you, darling.
Okay.
And we love you. We will be back again on Thursday if nothing happens.
Yeah.
We will be back on Thursday at 12:30 for our impromptu, and I hope you can join us. And we're going to take off tonight.
See ya.
Bye.